You know that feeling when you walk outside, see your mean-looking muscle car in the driveway, start it up and hear all the power it's making, and then when you realize what your interior looks like, you say,
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
well, today I've got the 7 best mods that'll make your interior look way better and will make you enjoy driving your car a lot more. Let's get into it. By the way, I made another video a couple months after starting YouTube for the best interior mods under $50. If you check that out, just know the video's a little plain, but if you're on a tighter budget, the mods in that one are pretty good. I don't restrict these to a certain budget though, so they do get a little expensive, but these are the ones that'll make a huge difference, and that's what you want, right?
That's why I'm here.
Without babbling on anymore, the first interior mod is to change up your steering wheel. This one just makes a lot of sense because what do you have your hands on the most when you're driving? When it comes to updating your wheel, there's 3 main ways I think you could do it.
3! Take it or leave it!
The first way is to carbon fiber it yourself. This way is definitely the most demanding, but if you do it right, your wheel will look like it cost you $300 or more when really it was less than half that. I was heavily considering trying to DIY carbon fiber a wheel for a while, so I looked into it a lot, and you can actually find everything you need on Amazon. And at car meets, when some guy tells you he did a frame-up restoration and rebuild on his own engine and transmission, you can say,
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
and show him the carbon fiber wheel you so skillfully set around your own steering wheel. The second option for your steering wheel is to do a simple rewrap kit. It's usually a way simpler install and it's easy to find if there's already leather or something around your wheel. You can find the fabric already sized and set up to go on the wheel. All you have to do is take off the old stuff if there is any, put the new fabric on, and sew it up. It'd be pretty hard to mess this up. Kits usually go for around $30 depending on what you can get, and you can really customize the stitching and fabric. A great thing to pair this with would be carbon fiber overlays, which shouldn't cost too much but will make the job look a lot more complete. And if you heard the letters DIY and thought,
Is this some sort of peasant joke that I'm too rich to understand?
then you should go with the third way, which is to just buy a new steering wheel. I'm personally not a fan of the generic thin 3-spoke aftermarket look, but if that's what you like, then those are usually the cheapest. If you want something with carbon fiber, perforated leather, or maybe even LEDs to show your revs, I've seen those cost anywhere from $300 to over $1,000. The second interior mod is floor mats. This probably seems too simple to be called an interior mod, but having nice floor mats is actually the thing that can take your interior to the next level if you've already done other mods. For functionality, I'd say get something like WeatherTech because they're made to fit each car, but if you want cheaper ones, most rubber ones are alright. If you want to make a real statement though, get custom ones with diamond stitching. The first time I saw something like this was bright red and it covered the whole floor. Now, I know what you're thinking, that'd get dirty really easily, but think about it this way. As long as you keep it clean, you're telling every person who gets in or sees the floor of your car that you've got high quality shit for what should be the dirtiest part of your car. Like you care, but you don't really care because they're just floor mats. See what I mean?
Yeah, this is big brain time.
The next mod is a carbon fiber trim. Choosing carbon fiber as an interior look is actually pretty great because you can go as cheap as $15 for a roll of carbon fiber wrap, or you can pay hundreds of dollars for the real stuff and put it all over. This really leaves it up to you, and there are carbon fiber interior pieces out there on the market for most cars. It's especially easy to find the parts if you have a Mustang, Camaro, Challenger, or Corvette, and even easier if they're from like 2010 or newer. Because this is becoming more common, if you want to stand out a little more, one cool idea is to mix in little touches of colored carbon fiber like blue, red, green, or gold accents. Another interior mod is a touchscreen radio. I'll be honest with this one, aftermarket touchscreens are alright, but from what I've seen, any of the ones that cost under like $300 or $400 just aren't worth the money. They feel cheap, the screens look kinda crappy, it's way less convenient than just turning a dial while you're driving, and the cheaper ones have really iffy touch sensitivity. So even if you just want to change the station, you'll probably sit there for 2 minutes like, also, you either turn the screen off at night, in which case there was no point in having it, or you won't be able to make the screen black and it'll just burn a hole in your eyes the whole time you're behind it. Regardless, this one is a mod and some people really like the look. This next mod is for all my manual people watching, and it's a short throw shifter. Short throw shifters are a great way to make going through the gears way more enjoyable, and if you want better shift times, it'll help with that too. In the past 2 decades, or even the last decade, shifters feel so much more precise. It's like pressing a button compared to older cars. The feel is just so
Nice.
But the good thing is you don't need a new car to get that feel if you find a quality short throw shifter. The next interior mod is to get LEDs. It's kind of easy to look at having colored LEDs anywhere but your headlights as childish, and some people go too far, so they're sitting in their car like... Having well-placed and low-key interior lights, even cheap ones, can make a huge difference to the feel of your car at night though. There's the classic footwell lighting, which is cool, especially if it can follow music. Something I've tried in the past though is eel wire, and I'm pretty happy with it. LED strips for footwells can be as cheap as $15, and they're usually painfully simple to install. Eel wire can be even less expensive, and the install is quick and easy. I was a little worried before I got mine that it would look really cheap and crappy during the daytime, but it does not look as bad as I expected. And I've gotten to the point now where I almost always drive with them on at night. Just make sure you install it right and plan out where you're going to put it beforehand, because it does look pretty bad if it starts falling out. The final mod to transform your car's interior is to get new seats. The first thing I want to say about these, if you buy aftermarket instead of just higher trim seats, make sure they fit first. I've seen it before where people have aftermarket seats, even if they bought it in a car, let's just say a cheap project car for example, with them already installed, and found out after getting it home that they're not even the right size. Now a normal seatbelt won't actually fit without having to jam the seat into place and try for hours and hours to get the freaking bolts to line. Just take it from me, do your homework with this, because you don't want it to be a headache later on. This is definitely one of the most expensive options on the list, even if you go with cheaper generic seats. If you want them to look really good though, you'll have to fork over a good amount of cash, but if you're in the position to do so, this could even be the one thing to make your interior feel brand new. An honorable mention is a steering wheel tray. Believe it or not, a few weeks ago, I saw an ad for this on Instagram, and it'd be even ridiculous for something like a Tesla that can basically drive itself on the highway, even though, you have to steer eventually. But no, this was on a Honda or something. And it wasn't even just as a joke. It was a real ad for something a theme page was trying to sell with the link in their bio. The only time I ever want to see these is at a drag strip. Can you imagine moving up to the line, and when you look over to see who you're about to race, he's chowing down on some Buffalo Wild Wings? Then, boom, light goes green and he slaps you by a full second. That'd be pretty badass. Other than that though, and maybe if you feel like you really need a table every time you're gonna eat in your car, I don't see any reason for this. Let me know in the comments what you thought of these, if you love any of them, hate any of them, or if you have any questions. Honestly, I think my top two would be the carbon fibered steering wheel or the short throw shifter. If you're new to the channel, I upload American car news and content like this every week. If there's something you want to see or a question you have about any video, leave a comment below or shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll make sure to get back to you. As always, thank you all very much for watching. I really appreciate every one of you. I'll see you next week. Have a great day.